Good day, ladies and gentlemen. It's the Prairie Banana here over on PulseChain. We're going to be talking about pTGC and UFO, the two index tokens that have been crushing it over on PulseChain, that are an index of the most promising assets on the whole chain. The Richard Hart, all the Richard Hart tickers, Pulse, Hex, Inc. They're an index of all those assets. And we are going to be streaming a Twitter space direct from Twitter onto my YouTube. We do this all the time, every Saturday and Monday. We had the founder on the line and a bunch of other guys and gals, and we're going to be talking about pTGC and UFO, these two tokens. And I'm just getting set up. We already have a question in the chat. Yeah, we got a question in the chat. Good. So sometimes I got to back out of the Twitter space and then just jump back in. Let me see if that works. Not yet. So just hang tight and we'll have more people to talk to. We got exciting things coming, guys. To tell you what, man. Number go up. Yeah, that'd be great. But okay, number sideways. We're just going to build and have exciting things to help that number go up further, faster. That's the idea. All right, man. We're in. Good morning. Make sure my volume.
Good morning, Banana.
How's it going, man?
Good. Hey, real quick,
Sure.
Where was the misspelling for pulled and pooled on the new site? Do you remember?
I'll find it. Give me a second.
I'm just trying to get these little markups to them right now because I know it's going to take some time for them to even fix these little things. So I'm just trying to, as I see them, just send them messages.
Okay. It's in the UFO section, obviously. Let's see. It's in the second. If you scroll down to the second section of green boxes, the upper left box. It says UFO polls. I can screenshot it to you if you need it.
Yeah, screenshot it to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's easy to look past because it's a common word in the English language. Okay. There, I just sent it. Yeah, I was just telling people on YouTube that we got exciting stuff coming. You know, price might be going sideways or whatever we're doing. But we're building over here in anticipation of number go up. And it's going to cause the number to go up even further and perhaps faster, what we're building in the Grays Eco.
Yeah, I'm excited. You know, there's still a few little markups like the spelling error and stuff like that. What chat did you send that in, by the way? I don't see it.
Oh, whoops. I sent that to my wife. Just a second. I'll send it to you.
But from where it was a few months ago, I feel like it's so close. A little thing here, a little thing there, but we're getting there. You know, I was messing with the staking a little bit, the voting a little bit, the locking a little bit yesterday. I haven't played with the UFO shares yet to make sure that's all working correctly. I found a little bit of an issue on, which is not really an issue, but I just don't like the pop-up that pops up when creating a proposal. But it just feels so close right now. It's nice.
Yeah. I tested everything on the pTGC side. I haven't tested anything UFO yet. I made a stake. You know, I staked some tokens. First I swapped from PLS to pTGC, and that
worked. Using the onboarding page?
Did I? No, I think I used PulseX. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't used it yet. That's one of the next things. So on this image, real quick, where is it? 'Cause that's where I was looking. Oh wow, yeah. Oh, this is the. Where is this?
Maybe I. No, dude, I'm pretty sure I swapped from Pulse to pTGC right there on this website, on this DApp. I mean, I can do it while we're live too. But so anyhow, I bought pTGC. I staked it. I locked it. It was just a small amount, right? So I emergency end locked it, just trying to make sure everything works. And then I unstaked it. And it all, I'm pretty sure I claimed rewards. Yeah, I did. I claimed some rewards. And so far it has worked. I haven't done anything on the UFO yet though.
Yeah, that's my next thing too, and seeing if those swaps work on the onboarding section.
Sure. Yep. The site, guys. Just so you know, it's good. It's very attractive. I love that it's gold for the pTGC and green for the UFO section. And that's exactly how I've built some of my, the slide deck that we reviewed yesterday. It's gold and green. And I think that's great for branding. And that way you can kind of get an idea which section you're in right away just by the color.
Yeah, I think green and gold are very, very good colors to utilize as well.
Yes, that is true too. You've got gold, obviously gold, okay, and then green, which Extra PulseX told me is like one of the best colors you can use for marketing.
Yeah, that's what I heard as well.
Yeah, I avoid red. Black is great. I avoid red. My microphone is red, and I hear that red like causes a kind of a negative response in humans because it's the color of blood.
Yeah, and red candles.
Yeah. Yes.
I think those microphones that you have are changeable in color.
Yeah, I would hope so, but I don't think this one is.
Huh.
Yeah, I can look it up, but
because sometimes they have a few options you can pick from.
yeah, I've never seen a selector on this one. Maybe it's in the software somehow though, so I should look.
Yeah, if it's bothering you, I would say look it up. Maybe you can make it green or gold.
Yeah. Good idea. Oh, you got your coffee?
Yeah, I'm actually. If you hear a lot of loud noise today, I had to come into work today because we're pretty busy right now. So
okay.
If I have to pause for a second, answer a question, or if you're hearing some banging, just let me know to mute myself or something like that.
Okay. All right. I got my coffee too. Sounds like we're set. There's not a lot of people on Spaces right now. Let me see how many people we've got on YouTube. 14. We've got kind of a standard. We have a very dependable crew on YouTube, Zen, and it's about 14 to 20 guys or gals that show up every time. And I'm so grateful for you guys showing up. It's the strength, because you guys are the strength of the system, right? The guys that are here every time.
Yeah, definitely. Having those people there, having the people in the spaces, even if they're not learning anything new and they're just hanging out, it definitely makes it more attractive for new users coming in. People, when they hop into a new ecosystem, they want to see a community that's there and, and thriving. Happy to be there.
Yep, exactly. So anything else you want to chat about the new website? When do you think you're going to have it? When do you think it's going to be done? Because I can kind of gauge my work.
I think we're like only a week or two away at this point.
Okay.
I think we're almost there. You know, the dApps seem to be functioning correctly. That's really my number one thing, you know, just making sure those dApps, because just fixing a few words or sentences here or there, that's pretty easy stuff.
Okay.
As far as the calculators go, you know, I actually like with that rewards one on pTGC, how it's in pTGC instead of dollar value. I think just getting the option added there, because that definitely, when you first sent that to me, it took me a second of staring at it like, what's going on here? And then I realized, I'm like, oh, it's volume in pTGC. And I was like, that's pretty cool. You know, this is the reason it's cool. This is why I don't want them to switch it completely, and I want them to give the option. Is when we look at rewards, we're looking at them in dollar values, right? So like in that example, you typed in 10 million, you're thinking dollars a day in volume, but what you typed in 10 million pTGC a day in volume.
Oh, is that how I did it?
That's how that one is set up. So that's why I asked them to give them the option. So that's why it was giving such low dollar values in APY, because it wasn't $10 million of volume in dollars. What you put is 10 million pTGC in volume daily.
Oh, that's interesting.
And it's a cool idea to think about, because if you look at it daily, not in dollar values, but in pTGC, you can actually calculate quantity of tokens received instead of amount of dollars received, if that makes sense.
Run that by me again, please.
So if you look at volume, and a lot of people don't realize, like, even on volume charts, on like when you go to the Ethereum chart, Richard actually made a post about this recently. If you go from Genesis of Ethereum all the way to Ethereum today, you'll actually see the volume chart starting to shrink. And it's not because there's less dollar value of volume. It's because there's less ETH quantity of volume, because ETH is worth more.
Yes.
Right? So the quantity of ETH that gets traded every single day is less and less. If you look at pTGC, it would be the same way, because as price goes up, usually there's less quantity of pTGC trading every single day. So, but it's higher dollar values. So if you're playing with the volume, you can play with volume in dollar values, or you can even play with volume in pTGC quantity of tokens.
Yeah.
If you're playing with dollar value and you say, hey, I'm saying $10 million a day in volume with pTGC, well, that's going to give you, you know, hey, if we have $10 million of volume in pTGC and this is your position, this is the amount of dollars you're going to receive.
Right.
Because it's a different quantity of tokens moving every single day to get that same dollar amount. But if you switch it to quantity of tokens, the dollar amount would be different every day, but the quantity of tokens would be the same. So then you can actually predict how many tokens you would receive a year, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's gonna take some time to settle in on me.
Okay.
So,
But so when you pointed that out, I'm like, whoa, what's happening here? Yeah, that's wrong. And I'm like, oh, that's in pTGC tokens. So $10 million a day in pTGC tokens isn't too impressive. $10 million or 10 million pTGC a day of volume is not impressive, but $10 million a day is impressive.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
So there's a difference there. But then I thought about it, I'm like, well, I don't want them to switch it completely. This is actually kind of cool, you know? And then the other calculator showed dollars. So we had both calculators. The only issue I had is I felt like how you hopped on there and you're like, ooh, I want to do some calculations. And you typed in 10 million and it shot you out this low number. I'm like, well, if Banana was confused by it, and it took me 5 minutes of staring at it to figure it out. And I'm the builder of this thing. I'm like, most people are going to get confused by this. So I think we need to start it with dollars and maybe let them toggle it over to pTGC if they want to play with that.
Oh, good idea.
But yeah, that was a good catch. It actually wasn't wrong. It was just a little confusing.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, that'd be awesome if we can have a toggle to select between the two, pTGC or dollars. Yeah. I like it. Yeah, you guys are gonna love the site. And we're making some videos to walk everybody through the functionalities of it also, and especially for new people.
Yeah, another thing I'm getting them to kind of add in on the staking page is, you know how it says like what you hold and then what you have staked, and what you have held is always really going to be bigger than what you have staked. You know what I mean? Because you can't hold unless you stake, and then you start getting reflections.
Yep.
But you know how we always have the issue of people saying like, "Oh, I can't come in and because I can't sell." And I'm not staked, and then we're like, "You're staked, dude."
Yeah.
You're staked, dude. They're like, "No, I see it in my wallet." And
Yeah.
like, "No, you're staked, dude. Just go and stake." So
yes.
I'm having them put a box there that says like liquid, like what you have liquid.
Okay.
So it's like, go on to the staking page, tell us what you have liquid right now.
Yes.
That's easier.
We're gonna redeem a lot of time back from that one implementation.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. But who has? We're not laughing at anybody. It's just we've all been there, probably, except for you, of course.
Well, I've probably answered the question at this point. I would say 200 times. So,
yeah.
And we have to realize we have very little adoption on PulseChain as of right now, and I actually feel like a lot of the people on PulseChain are actually very mechanically like inclined to this type of stuff. Like they understand this stuff better than most people in crypto.
And it gets them.
If it's tripping them up,
yep,
it's going to trip some normies up, and it's
going to trip
like not really crypto experts up. So I'm like, we need I don't know. I think this is a good little solution to where when they go across, they're like, okay, this is what I hold. This is what I have staked. Oh, this is what I have liquid, and then this is what's locked. So it'll give them that last category that kind of shows them what's possible to even sell without withdrawing more from the stake.
Yeah. Yep. And this site is going to have it's going to have a claim all button, which would be great, that's one thing that I go to look into because I have locking ladders. I go to look into and I claim them all at the same time. I'm like, this is wonderful. You know,
I don't know because I know you did 2 locks and it's not showing a claim all anywhere. So I did send that to them like, hey, but I know we haven't gotten any rewards yet. So we almost have to like trigger a little reward set to see if something pops up. Because that was part of like one of my things that I asked them to add, but there's been plenty of things that they kind of missed in that long list of things I gave them, or maybe they didn't understand it. So I did send them a reminder like, hey, we want to claim all here. We want to claim all with the locking rewards, and we want to claim all with the UFO LP rewards as well.
Okay, if they need code from the claim all, because I'm hosting look into, I have access to that code, and I could go find it if they need a point of reference, for whatever reason. But I did connect one of my wallets that has claimable pTGC from a locking ladder, and there's no claim all button.
Oh, okay, cool. Is there UFO in that wallet, like LPs?
Yes.
Is there a claim all button? We'll check later. We'll talk about it later. But I wanted to make sure there's a claim all button there. I think I saw where that was going to pop up, but I haven't verified it yet.
Okay. Yeah, we're going to.
But yeah, I'm excited about it. I feel like this journey of this website has taken me 5 times longer than I expected, but it's getting there.
Yeah, and we're going to have videos, guys, that will walk people, the onboards through it basically just in almost minute detail how to not only use the website, but, talking about the theory behind some of it too at the same time, if that makes sense. We want to make sure that the people that our users are potentially being no coiners can come to this website and get practically everything that they need to onboard themselves and understand what they are doing before they go lock up a big bag of pTGC, For example, they should understand exactly what they're doing first. And this is the referral site and the new site they're integrated. They're one website. So before you go onboard people, you'll come to the site, connect the wallet you want pTGC not rewards, but referral tokens coming to you, that wallet. You'll connect it here and get a referral code, and then you can send that to anybody that you're onboarding. Did I say too much?
Yeah, maybe a little, but that's good. We'll wait until the product's completely finished.
Okay.
Pretty much on the new site, there's a leaderboard that we can use as a community for just keeping track of who's onboarding and with how much value. And what we're thinking about doing is rewarding that leaderboard with DAO proposals moving forward. Every month will vary, but just something to motivate and encourage/reward our community for working hard and trying to increase the community base and holder base.
Yep. It's gonna be good. All right.
I just came in a little late, Zen. What were you talking about rewarding?
So pretty much we're at the last phase of the website. So me and Banana were kind of talking about, me and Banana has been testing the dApps on the website. The referral system, which is more like just the leaderboard system, seems to be operating. We haven't fully tested that yet, but we're just so close. And we're excited about that. Still some grammar issues, some spelling issues that we're trying to find, but we're getting there.
Yeah, talk to you about that later. That's awesome. Good work, Ray.
So we also have an interesting space today, since of everything that kind of Richard has put out in the last couple days, that I figured we'd probably spend a decent amount of time talking about today.
Yeah, I know that people are curious. We already have questions on YouTube about it.
Well, let's start with the questions.
From the Bendu with the RH announcement. So people are saying Mr. Prove will make ecosystems like the Grays pointless. Can you give a breakdown why that wouldn't be the case?
I don't see how that would be the case at all. pTGC operates off of arbitrage bots fixing price between liquidity pools. So what they would be saying would be that RH's assets would not fluctuate in price for the rest of existence. And I just don't see that being realistic to think about at all. I think with good products like Mr. Prove or Prove Privacy Protocol, whatever it's called, I'm hoping this brings better adoption to PulseChain, which will equal price increase to core assets, which will help the price of pTGC. It will make it to where we're not constantly swimming upstream. It will bring new users over. It will give us another leg to the liquidity web that we can add to if we choose to, which will be another value generation source. I actually think the quite opposite. I think this is going to actually enhance the pTGC ecosystem. I had seen someone say that this is going to help remove middlemen, and that's not good for pTGC, which I just don't agree with at all.
I don't know how that could be.
Yeah, I don't think pTGC is a middleman. I don't think we've ever operated as a middleman, and they need to understand the pTGC system a lot better and how it generates revenue, if that's the first thought that comes to mind. There isn't even a lot of middlemen on PulseChain in general, from what I can tell. And if they think that just all swapping is going to happen on this site and that's what they're afraid of, that's not the case.
Absolutely not.
All swapping will not happen on this. This is just, in my opinion, a fiat on and off ramp to where you can purchase the assets that you want through this, but that's just one specific liquidity pool. With prices changing in that liquidity pool or within that protocol, they have to constantly tap back into the DEXs to get at the real value, get at the large liquidity pools. And that's where the large amount of value is being held. I do think there's a lack of information out, but if anyone's thinking this is bad for pTGC, I actually think it's quite the opposite.
Yeah, me too.
I think this is good for PulseChain, and I do understand how this could be bad for middlemen, but pTGC is nowhere close to a middleman.
Yeah, and it's, if anything, the middleman for pTGC is AMM bots, which cannot be turned off. So what's happening is this announcement just came, from RH.
Arbitrage bots are not middlemen.
Yeah, but it's Prairie. That's not even correct. That's not even correct. Look,
okay.
The bottom line is that y'all have to stop listening to people on X that have zero qualification to even speak about these topics. Okay, you got people like Naga who doesn't know shit about crypto. Let's rely on the crystal ball guys, and incense to listen to how stuff works on a blockchain. You got to be absolutely out of your mind. The Prove protocol application is a top level code base escrow type service that removes people. It removes the need to trust between two people doing something together. That's what it does. And it also removes the trust between on and off ramp stuff. So it's on off ramp escrow top level service on the blockchain that hasn't been created before. It does nothing to remove the PulseX DEX. It does nothing to remove the need to have arbitrage take place on a blockchain so that you rebalance liquidity pools on a blockchain. You do that, you don't have a blockchain.
Right.
So that information is completely false. And in terms of arbitrage bots and pTGC or anything, arbitrage bots are not middlemen. They make money rebalancing liquidity pools. That's all that it is. Middleman is you getting in front of me, you being in my way of trying to do business with somebody else.
Oh, okay.
So don't
and censoring that movement and charging a fee to that movement as well. Usually, that would be like a centralized exchange. If you wanted to get your value of crypto into a bank account, they're in the middle and they can actually stop you while you're in the middle and also charge you a fee. So what this is going to eliminate is those middlemen who are taking a lot of the value from cryptocurrency. It has absolutely nothing to do with pTGC or arbitrage bots. And people saying that I really wish they would actually try to understand the pTGC machine a lot better, because what that tells me is they still don't understand it 2 years later.
Yep.
Yeah, and you gotta understand as well. Half the people you see saying stuff like that are trying to fudge your bags because they're in them and they want more tokens. And then the other half is they just have no understanding of what the hell they're talking about, because the large majority of big voices on X really aren't even qualified to talk about the damn protocols. They have no idea how they work.
Sure. They don't understand how pTGC works. And this protocol was just announced in theory. Okay, it's just theory right now, I guess. Yesterday, less than 24 hours. So this new idea, this new protocol is still settling in on all of us. And there's going to be a lot of ideas about what it actually does until we all kind of corporately figure it out.
Yeah. Well,
go ahead.
I've seen things similar to this before. It's going to be different in the way that Richard explained it. But, Jeff Kardikis from TrustSwap also created something that was similar to this in the TrustSwap protocol. You guys know how Richard is. He wants to eliminate one of the things that he said, one of the main things that he said on a follow-up was the what if tweets. What if you could basically just off-ramp and on-ramp without an exchange? That's the middleman he's talking about.
Right.
The exchange. to get on and off a blockchain, to go in and out of fiat. That's a major issue, a major checking point in this industry, you know? So pay attention to what he's saying, but it has zero effect on the pTGC ecosystem. That is retarded.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it actually is going to benefit pTGC because pTGC is a fully decentralized automated protocol built on a blockchain that we believe is, one of the most decentralized protocols out there. Very trustless, can never be turned off. And what we're now creating is bridges from the real world to this blockchain, eliminating the middlemen. So it's, in my opinion, that alone is just adding more value to what PulseChain is. And then by adding more value to what PulseChain is, you're adding more value to what pTGC is because pTGC is built on it. And it's not only about price going up, but the infrastructure around the blockchain as well adds value to the pTGC asset because pTGC, in a way, is bonded to all those major assets. It's, a diversification to all those major assets, but also it generates revenue off of the success of those assets.
Mm-hmm.
I think the bigger talking point is sacrifice set, timing, what it does to blockchain. I think that's the big conversation for today, to be honest with you. It has nothing to do with, is it going to break things that use arbitrage? Everything uses arbitrage bots. They just don't charge a fee.
Yeah, that's in my opinion, that's like a topic that we could spend 2 minutes on and then it's over, right? Just if there was people who were confused and actually thought that could be the case, I don't think that's the case at all. I actually thought the exact opposite. Like, wow, this is awesome for pTGC that it's built on a chain that's going to have this and it's first mover advantage. That's glorious.
Oh yeah, man. First mover advantage.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
so on the sacrifice, obviously I think the website is going to have a lot of this missing information that Richard keeps bringing up. So I think that's what everyone's kind of waiting for.
I speculate that you will have the ability to use wrapped Bitcoin, wrapped ETH, wrapped BNB. We already have the team already has the scripts for that because of the two previous sacrifices, and it could look very similar to that, but it'll also incorporate the cores. And in my opinion, it is a way to get as much cores out of the hands of everybody else as possible that's going to sacrifice. And at the same time, I don't know if you guys saw the remark that he remarked to Corey, but did you guys see the remark that he?
Yes.
He cut? Okay. Well, for most people that weren't even there for the sacrifice, I mean, when you have the sacrifice happen last time, the price of Hex skyrocketed. At the same time, a ton of the supply was taken off the market that never re-entered the market again. I don't see why something similar isn't happening here, especially when Richard just said the same thing. So that'll be very interesting, Sam.
I heard that he deleted that too. I never went and verified. Do you know if that's true or not?
If it's gone, he deleted it.
Yeah, I saw someone post it and say, this is deleted now, but this is what you
guess what? I have a screenshot of it.
Yeah, I saw someone posted the screenshot of it. That's the only place I saw it. But yeah, that stood out to me too. You know what I mean? It made a lot of sense. And what I thought about that is like, okay, well, maybe this sacrifice isn't right now. Or maybe it's coming up, but prices start moving and it will be at like prime time of this bull market, which should eliminate sell pressure and get buy pressure. Like you are the best person to ask on this topic because you were right there helping everyone with the sacrifice last cycle and also watching the price of Hex move at that same time, actually 2 sacrifices. So you know exactly what that did for the hex price and also onboarding the hex as well.
Yeah, well, at the end of the day, the first, we only had one token then. So it is different in the sense that when these sacrifices were being run, there was one RH ticker. And so everybody was buying the RH ticker hex and then sacrificing it. So as people were buying hex, they were holding it, and the value was going up and up and up and up. And then they were sacrificing it, speculating on, okay, this is probably going to be near the tier end of where the price tops out at or whatever. But what it did was it got hundreds of millions of dollars, whatever it was, off the market in terms of hex, pumped the price of hex into oblivion, and got it out off the market, removed all those tokens from supply, right? So now we have PulseChain. So it'll be interesting if all the cores will be available to sacrifice, or if just PulseChain will be available to sacrifice. It'll be interesting to see what from within Richard's ecosystem is offered in terms of the focus. If it's for example, if it's not hex, it'll tell us a lot about where the focus is in terms of how he's looking at reflexivity from within inside the sacrifice. If it's everything, it just all goes up together. But remember, this is different than the last time, because the last time the whole world was speculating. Like everybody from different chains, everybody was, I don't care, even if they were hating, they were speculating the sacrifice set. This time it's probably not going to be the case. And remember, if I send Pulse to a wallet to sacrifice, it does nothing for the price. Mm-hmm. If I send ink to the sacrifice set, it does nothing to the price. It's just a send from wallet to wallet. Okay? So in this situation, we have all these people on chain that are predominantly the active people that would trust Richard with the sacrifice. We already have our cores, right? So I don't see a big pump on price. The only way that happens is if somebody from the outside with a lot of money comes in and buys up the assets that are required to pump the price. So you can see where I'm coming. There's a lot of nuance to that. I could go on for 2 hours, 3 hours on this. But you can see it's different than the first sacrifice because of the logistics and the administrative side of the tickers. It's not the same environment.
Totally different. It's 4 years later too.
Well, it's not about the years later. It's literally about the fact that when we were running the sacrifice set for PulseChain and PulseX, there was only one RH ticker that people could buy to sacrifice. And the community decided to make that the store of value that we did that in. So people would come over from Ethereum, swap their USDC or ETH into Hex, and then sacrifice the Hex. And so that's why the price was going up, because everyone was saying, well, hell, if we're going to sacrifice something, let's pump the shit out of our own token.
Right.
And B, let's get it off the market, because if it's in the hands of the OA, it's not coming back into the system.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, something interesting about that too, just with how illiquid PulseChain is you technically could pump the price of PulseChain, and if it's the value of what you sacrificed on that day, people could technically increase the value of their sacrifice just by onboarding more to PulseChain, or even a big player could technically double his sacrifice worth just by buying more RH tickers right before he sacrifices, even if he wanted to sell the next day. It's kind of crazy to think about like how illiquid PulseChain is, and if any form of demand comes in, like you were saying, Mando, like a lot of people on chain already have RH tickers, so they might be able to sacrifice, but like a lot of them I don't think are even willing to let go of those RH tickers to a sacrifice though. And they might bring in, it doesn't have to be much. It could be $2,000 from in real life capital, like, maybe their savings account from the real world, or maybe they sell something. And if they say, I don't want to get rid of my RH tickers, I think those are going to go on a nice run here, but I do want to sacrifice a little bit for this. So I'm going to bring in $2,000. Well, if 10,000 people bring in $2,000, that's, I think, $20 million. It's 10,000.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, that's $20 million right now in the PulseChain. Pushes PulseChain up, I think, like 10x or something like that. I can plug it in real quick while we're talking. So that's an interesting topic to think about too, and that doesn't include, a big player that isn't in PulseChain already that needs to specifically buy all of the assets that he wants to sacrifice. And if PulseChain starts moving up, let's say PulseChain moved up right before this sacrifice, you have the same thing that happened with Hex, to where people were like, I feel like I missed Hex a little bit, so I'm going to go hard on this sacrifice. But that is all kind of more specific on timing of this sacrifice. It could happen with all the assets at the bottom, so Richard's taking literally all the future sell pressure away from getting people to sacrifice at the bottom, or he might wait a little bit for price to start moving. So then the outside world of crypto kind of FOMOs into the sacrifice, very similar to what I look at Hex. More Hex was the style of, or PulseChain was the style of when people saw Hex running.
Yeah, I don't think that he's going to wait. I don't think there's any reason to wait. And I think that as soon as we see the website and we see if it's got a TWAP in it and a bonus in it, and we see what assets are available to actually sacrifice for, it's going to tell us a whole shitload about what the strategy is for the sacrifice.
Yeah.
Once we see the site, we'll know.
Do you think the product's completely done?
I personally think the product's done.
I think the product's done too.
I think it's 100% done. It's been done for a while and already tested and everything by the team. 100%.
I think that as well.
I would bet money on it.
Yeah, I was almost even thinking that this sacrifice was going to be more or closer to the style of the Hex transformation, where you can transform, this asset into this, but maybe not like where. No. But hold on, let me finish. Not like a 1 year process where you get the tokens right then at the end of the day, but not where you wait 2 years to get your airdrop. You get what I'm saying? Like, I think it's like a 10-day period, and then after the 10 days, the airdrop is soon after. Like, I think all that stuff is ready.
Right, but the adoption amplifier was the exact opposite of the sacrifice. I mean, it was literally just me engaging code, and then I could mint my own tokens. It's not. That's the opposite of an airdrop, where somebody actually has to send you something after you send to a wallet.
Yeah, true. Okay, but I more meant that I don't think we're going to have to wait 2 years to get the tokens that.
Oh hell no! No.
And this will be an opportunity for people that have come onto PulseChain since the previous sacrifices to participate in a sacrifice. And David raised a good point on YouTube. He said RH could use the original SAC money to sacrifice for Mr. Prove, and no one would even know it was the SAC funds now that it's hidden. And that would be his way of pumping the chain.
Yeah, Richard sacrificing is obviously something he's done in the past, and it's an interesting topic because he's literally just sending money from one wallet to another one of his wallets and then locking in all those credits of free airdrop. This is obviously what he's done in the past.
Yeah, what this does mean to me is that the Wizard of Oz behind the curtain is wizarding. That's what it means.
And that's bullish.
This feels like sacrifice set for PulseChain.
Yeah, that makes me excited.
Bullish.
Yeah, because he's working for his chain, which includes us.
The other thing I like, Prairie, is that we talked a lot about, specific to RH, well, specific to the chain, we talk a lot about just always seeing just forks of things coming online. Forks of Aave, forks of Liquid Loans,
yeah.
or
Right.
you know, Liquidity, forks of this. When is new innovation coming that didn't come from anywhere else on PulseChain?
Exactly.
This is something that I think is needed, and if it can solve a problem of fiat on off ramp without an exchange, whew, I'm gonna tell you right now, bro. I'm gonna tell you right now. I don't give a damn if you're on AVAX, if you're on Solana, if you're on freaking Ethereum, if you're on BNB. If you have a legit protocol that can on and off ramp you without an exchange
and privacy,
everybody's coming to do that.
And and I believe it offers privacy too.
I mean, you would have a lot of people coming to PulseChain, bridging into PulseChain just to off ramp from PulseChain.
Yeah, man. Can you describe? Do you have your head wrapped around how it basically works? Can you describe that?
No.
Not yet.
Not yet. No, I have a guess, but I don't want to talk about that till kind of we get a little bit further down the road. But it's definitely privacy and escrow.
Yeah, I just typed in the 20 million in the PulseChain right now, and that's a 15x the PulseChain. We were kind of talking about that. Richard has spent a lot of effort making the supply of his assets very, very scarce. And if any remote amount of demand starts flowing into this chain, prices will start to go. And obviously, green candles attract more green candles. This could be the demand side that we've been waiting for.
Exactly. So he buys a bucket ton of Pulse to sacrifice for Mr. Prove It.
It doesn't even need to be him. It literally doesn't even need to be him. It takes, in the example, we have 10,000 active users. If just those 10,000 people brought in 2K each, you know, in average, some people probably bringing in 20K, some people bringing in 5K, some people bringing in $500. But on average, if 10,000 people brought in 2K each, keep in mind that's very, very minimal compared to Richard's other sacrifice sets. That's a fraction. That's the demand that we've been needing.
Yep.
Which it will be a fraction.
And keep in mind, there's been other sacrifices on PulseChain that have happened since PulseChain's launch with projects, and the projects ended up failing, but they took in millions of dollars in no problem.
Yes.
This is like just in the last, I think, 6 months to a year. And these aren't Richard products. These are other people who have, you know, held not maybe sacrifices, but, you know, conversions and stuff like that. And those projects have easily taken in millions of dollars. Imagine if Richard started marketing and doing his thing. Like, I see no reason why tens of millions of dollars won't come to the chain specifically for those products. And the assets are so illiquid and so scarce, it just takes a trickle of demand in the PulseChain to make these things go. And then, you know, I believe that's going to really make pTGC go as well.
Sure. And a sacrifice that pumps PulseChain will draw attention to the Mr. Prove It product, which will in turn attract people to PulseChain. It's like a loop, man.
Yeah.
Well, the website and the information that is given regarding the protocol will be interesting, because if it's high tier enough, you will have people 100% from outside of PulseChain come in to speculate on it.
Yes.
There will be a percentage of those people that will do that. That's just a fact. But it depends on what it is, and if they view it as something legitimate that even as a non-PulseChain blockchain user, they can use by bridging from ETH into Pulse and use it as an on and off ramp or an escrow service, whatever that they think will be safe, effective, and solve a problem for them. And it's, at the end of the day, it's all about solving a problem for a customer. If we've got something on PulseChain that solves that problem and it takes 5 minutes to bridge in, you'll see some people using it, and you'll see some funds coming from that.
On to the next subject. What do you think of the name?
You know, the initial response in this industry personally, and I'm a brand guy, is I love it. And most people will have a visceral response and say, oh, that sounds quirky, that sounds corny, that sounds whatever. But it's a product. You got to understand, it's not a decentralized DEX. It's not a blockchain. It's going to be an DApp. It's going to be an application. It's a product. It's a service. So you market it as a product or a service. And
I feel like the token name, though, is like that.
Proof.
I don't think the token is a product or a service. I agree that I don't really dislike the website or the protocol's name as much. It's just the product. I'll be honest here. It just doesn't sound like Richard named it. And someone threw in our chat, Dub, I think maybe was, if he wants to come up and say where he found that, he said something like that was an article written in 2015, which is 10 years ago, about a Mr. Prove token or a Mr. Prove situation that sounds oddly similar. Like someone started working on this idea, or maybe did finish the idea, but just didn't fully execute it well enough. And Richard picking it up, because the Mr. Prove definitely sounds like 10 years ago. You know, you have like Mr. Clean, and like a lot of people used to use Mr. this, Mr. that. But I think it's kind of fading out. But I did find that interesting that 10 years ago, there was a similar idea being talked about that also used this Mr. Prove wordage. And I feel like there's some weird connection there, because Mr. Prove, as far as a token name, doesn't match with anything Richard's talked about in the past as far as like branding of ticker symbols.
Yeah, it's
yeah. I'll post the link for the article itself for you guys, so you can look at it.
Well, and neither did the launch of pump.tires.
Neither did what?
The launch of pump.tires
wasn't like Richard.
Yeah.
Literally so far from Richard that you would have never even dreamed in a million years.
Yeah, I agree with that. But the tickers that I think are like the ones he's not backing, but like most, I think is like a ticker. Pump is like obviously a great ticker. The biggest pump, like pump.fun literally used that exact same ticker for their main token. Richard beat them to market with that like literally months prior. But yes, I do agree that was definitely odd as well. I just
that's why I say that's why I say that this is a chain a product, or the DEX a product, or Ink a product. This is an actual product that a customer will use. So in my opinion, it's certainly.
My counter to it is the token isn't the product. The token is still a token that gets bought and burnt from the revenue generation of the product. And I just felt like it was a weird ticker symbol personally. That was it.
Well, we don't really know what the ticker symbol is.
That I agree with that. I almost felt like it was a placeholder.
Yeah, we really don't know what the ticker symbol is. The ticker symbol might be proof. Oh.
Exactly. That's kind of what I in my head, I'm like, well, why wouldn't you just call it proof? Like, why did you have to add the Mr. in front of it? It's just odd. But
that's the product. That's
exactly.
The product and service, the friendly, Mr. Proof. You go use Mr. Proof over on PulseChain and you're good.
Yeah. Yep.
Mr. Clean.
It reminded me so much of like market strategies 10 years ago, and I thought it was so interesting when ODub, found that article. I'm going to read it for sure because I'm just like, wow, 15 years ago, really the right timeline from when people were calling a lot of businesses or products Mr. This or Mr. That.
I'm being quiet. I'm trying to add that video that I have pinned on my Twitter, which is for the tourists, to the Jumbotrons. I'm trying to figure out how to do that.
Definitely interesting times, though. I'm glad to see, unique, cool things being built in the background, which solves, I think, one of the biggest things that people are overlooking just from being kind of caught off guard from the sacrifice, just because everyone's like, whoa, another sacrifice. Like, we're still working on getting PulseChain going. But it sounds like a legitimate solution to getting people from fiat to PulseChain with all of the accessories or the additions that we all want, privacy, ease, no middleman. So instead of like us just getting adopted by a centralized exchange, like, no, we're replacing them. Like, we're actually coming up with better solutions to get in real life people to PulseChain with one extension to the browser. And no one has an issue getting extensions to the browser. That's never been my hard part with onboarding, is getting people set up with MetaMask, like a wallet in your browser. So if it's as simple as that and they're landing on PulseChain, if they have to just download 2 extensions or however that works, I guess we'll find out soon. I do think this is a legitimate solution to onboarding in real life people. If it's as simple as, hey, get this extension, you just put in $5,000 of fiat, and within 5 minutes you have PulseChain in exchange, and then it just sends it to your wallet, and you're good to go. Like, that would be amazing. And it's something that crypto's needed for a long time as well.
It's something that sounds too good to be true.
Yeah, it's what we needed here on PulseChain. Everyone's been asking for a fiat on and off ramp. This is it. Our what we asked for is now being answered, and it also has a lot of other interesting things built into it, like even the escrow service. Like, yeah, he was talking about how there's other ways you can utilize this that might be adopted in the future for verification of things, and then it deletes your information after the verification is done, so there's not storage of information that gets hacked online, which happens a lot with cell phone services, and also I think like the medical industry. Like, all your information is just stored. So when they're verifying that you have certain things or coverages or your things, they actually just store that. Where it sounds like here, it like gets automatically deleted after they verify. I definitely need more information, other than that tweet. But it sounds like it has more built into it than just the fiat on and off ramp, which is even better, right? Like, when you kind of take away the shock factor of some of the things that people didn't see coming, like the sacrifice and stuff, and just look at what the product is delivered, it's something we need so bad. It makes us on PulseChain like our own community, but with walls built around us so high that the rest of crypto doesn't really affect us anymore. We don't need to hop over to ETH to then get to an exchange just to get fiat, or even to get someone in. We don't have to have him connect, KYC themselves to an exchange, then get into ETH and then get into PulseChain. Like, we technically are just creating a great environment here on PulseChain and then just building up the walls and saying, you know what, we're actually self-sustainable ourselves. We don't need to interact with these other things. And we can see how good that actually is by just what happened a few months ago with the massive liquidation that happens pretty much through every asset that's, got leverage tied to them. And PulseChain just sat there unaffected because there is no places to really do leverage on PulseChain, so nothing got liquidated.
I got that post with the video in it uploaded to the Jumbotron. So if you're wondering what we're talking about today, pTGC and UFO over on PulseChain, have a look at that video and it'll hit the highlights for you. And now is probably a good time to remind everybody to vote on plsfolio.com for both pTGC and UFO. And if you haven't voted yet for those assets also on Dex Screener, do that too. You can vote one time for each asset on Dex Screener. I don't know if you guys have talked about it yet, but do you think that we're probably going to have a pairing with this asset? Kind of goes without saying, or
I would imagine so. I would imagine so. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, because it's going to be, admin keyless I think it's probably going to check all the boxes. And if it's going to increase the volume for pTGC, then just kind of makes sense to be
ticker, man.
Yeah.
It's an RH ticker. We're RH people here.
Mm-hmm.
It's a no-brainer.
Yeah, it's also kind of, it's nice to think about the idea of, hey, some people are like, oh, another ticker, where it's a pro to our ecosystem is another ticker is another leg to the liquidity web, which is another source to generate revenue off of that can have its own individual movements. And it's actually sustainable, right? There's a good product behind it. It actually has revenue generation, and it actually is hyper deflationary as well, which helps with price performance. I look at it as a positive thing for our ecosystem. If we can get our hands on that and get some liquidity tied with it, we'll generate revenue off of it forever, just like all the other Richard Hart tickers included in the index. It's just another piece for our ecosystem to increase our revenue generation for the rest of the existence of the blockchain.
And this might be one of those rare opportunities for the DAO to strike and snipe a deal, if you will, on an asset, kind of like we did with the most meme coin, that we don't jump on every opportunity,
I think that's a great point to bring up, Banana. This is a great example that I've brought up multiple times of no one has any idea what the PulseChain environment will look like 1 year from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now. The crypto space in general is ever evolving. And this is why most assets can't be multi-cycle, because they cannot keep up to the ever evolving industry. For one, they don't have capital to. For two, their code is usually stuck in prior narratives or trends, and they can't adapt with the ever evolving ecosystem. This is a great example of PulseChain evolving, the ecosystem evolving, and our ecosystem being able to take action on however it evolves in the future because of the DAO. It's decentralized and automated, but also gives us the ability to pivot as a community as well. And I always kind of lean into that being one of the strongest features of pTGC that sets us apart from most other assets out there, because it gives us the ability to pivot as an ecosystem, but also doesn't give one specific person all the power of the asset as well.
Yeah, and this is interesting for our users too, because if we had a bond with, it's pretty clear we're going to, with Mr. Prove, and just by holding PTDC, we effectively hold a piece of Mr. Prove. So it's like a win. It's a triple win, man. We snipe it, we bond with it, rewarding our holders, and all of our holders have a piece of it.
Yeah, they're exposed. They're exposed to it in the diversification of PTGC, and also they're generating revenue off of it. Mm-hmm. So that pairing is paying them APY, which is paying them additional PTGC and UFO in their wallet. Also making their asset PTGC more deflationary as well. So there's other pros than just being exposed to it. It's also making your asset PTGC more deflationary if there's volume and volatility there, and also paying you more APY if there's volume and volatility there as well.
And J-Dub says that this technology already exists in ZK-P2P.
Yeah, that's why I said I didn't want to answer, but it is a ZK privacy type protocol, but there's iterations on top of it. So it'll be interesting to see it once it's fully launched. Here's an interesting question, and I said, hell no. Paynos hit me up, and he said, what if you can sacrifice your PTGC?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
And I said,
no.
I said, I would never sacrifice my PTGC for something like this. That's laughable. I said, there's nothing on chain like PTGC, and PTGC will have a massive pairing with it, more than likely anyways.
And PTDC...
No, you're not getting my PTGC,
no,
Richard.
No. PTDC has been moving...
Yeah, no.
PTDC has been moving up against the now four core assets. It stands to reason it'll move up against that fifth one.
Yeah, you couldn't take the PTGC out of my wallet if you paid me. Literally. That's funny. But I did write. This is what I did write. I'm sure most of you guys probably saw my initial post. There was a lot of views on it, over 20,000. But I said, Richard is about to launch a sacrifice for Mr. Proof. That means you send ETH, Bitcoin, or whatever is accepted to the UI. He keeps every penny. You get free Mr. Proof coins later, zero promises. His plan, suck millions of dollars out of every other altcoin on chain and into his pocket.
Yo.
He knows the power of the reflexive economy on PulseChain and wants to minimize its impact. So drain the alts before the chain pumps. Classic RH strategy, or one of them. The Mr. Proof strategy. I'm not selling my cores. I'm not selling my bags of cores or alts or top alts to fund him again. I'm not sacrificing a dime. Literally no reason to. Smart play equals wait. Let the token launch, watch the first pump, watch the first dump. When it hits the real floor and the market tells you what the value is, buy on the open market if you like the project. But that's it. No FOMO, no drama, just facts. Some think he might launch it at a certain price. He's cheap and won't give value away like that. And if he did, it would get sold into hard as hell. Glad to see RH is building. I hope the sacrifice gets very little money. Best play, wait for the launch, then buy the first dip. And then I said, I will say, I think this means RH doesn't give a damn about anything at this point in terms of any regulatory or anybody coming after him or anything like that, which I also think is another topic to talk about. It's a very good thing. He's not worried about anything at this point. Take a sacrifice. Taking a sacrifice makes a very serious statement. This is to be recognized. Bottom line, hashtag pTGC.
Yep. Good post, man.
For me, one of the things I've learned, guys, is especially when you're in long-term capital gains positions in cores, or you have a good position in a top alt like pTGC or anything else that's on chain, you know, you want to know what the true value of something is before you spend a lot of money in it. You want the market to tell you what the value of it is. I very little have I seen somebody go into an ICO or something like this, and then it just moons forever and just takes off forever. It doesn't come back down to the magnets, back down 90%.
They always retrace.
Let me and here's the question. Let's say I sacrifice $10,000 for Mr. Proof, and it does 10x. Okay, am I not going to sell any on a G chain? Yeah, it's going to get sold. Everything does. So there's no point in throwing your money into a black hole. Now, when it comes to the DAO, that's something that, you know, obviously needs to be talked about and considered. But that's different than taking your own money. And that's another very unique thing about pTGC, is that we can be exposed to these assets strategically without having to deploy our own money, which is very nice. Because the DAO can potentially, in whatever strategic way, buy up the asset, pair it, and now we all have exposure to it. And it's generating income. That's phenomenal.
One thing I think that's important to pay attention to is if there's amplifications to dollar amounts. Because usually if you're not getting that amplification, the people who are getting those amplifications are going to be up X's quicker than you. And if they spent more money, they usually want to get some of their money back. And that usually creates dips.
Yeah, so that post I wrote, it's obviously talking about just individuals putting their money into something, you know. At the end of the day, it ended up to being to where, and we also have to be conscientious, thinking that, understanding that this is not a blockchain. It's a token and a protocol on a blockchain. That's different. So it is different from that standpoint, you know, and I could be wrong, but I think you're right to consider. But it's my point being, Zen, that was more toward like me and you taking our own money and sacrificing this time around versus just waiting for a launch. And yes, they're going to be in X's, but that's different than, for example, DAO funds putting a little bit in the pot to get a little initial an initial allocation, and then you can wait for the rest to do a 75% retracement or whatever. That's different, right? Two different concepts.
Yeah, pTGC benefits in a different way than a lot of users can in their wallet. If we get the asset early, even if the asset, let's say, just bounces around in a range, pTGC will get to benefit off of that volatility and that volume, to where usually users don't get to benefit off of that. So there's a little bit of a different strategy there. We assume that something like that would have a lot of volume and volatility at launch. And if we were able to pair with it early, we'd obviously be able to be exposed to that, possibly to a point to where we're like getting paid back for what we spent. And then it's like house money at that point. Or like the piece of equipment or whatever you purchased is all paid for, and everything after that is all just extra. So,
yeah, it's going to be very important. And once the website goes online, and we see the construction of how that sacrifice is set up. If there is a TWAP, if there is bonuses. It may be that that's not the case. So it'll be interesting to see how it works this time around. Maybe he figures, yeah, that was a little bit too bonusy for those guys the last time around. You know what I mean?
100%. I think, he's probably looking at how to do it the best, and he's got a ton of information now, which he didn't have before.
Oh, he's got everything. I will tell you this, man. pTGC just sitting here at a freaking $55 million market cap, whatever it is. Man, it's feeling strong. We're fluctuating millions a day in market cap, going up, 2-3 million, and other tokens are just trying to get to them, but we're over here up and down millions, 50 million, 55 million. It's a different beast than it was 2 years ago. There's absolutely no question about it.
It'll be a different beast 2 years from now, too, man. I'm looking forward to the day when we have penny swings or 10-cent swings in a day.
Prairie, Panos is like, what if you could sacrifice your pTGC?
Nuh-uh.
I'm like, there is nothing on chain you gonna get my pTGCs for, dude. You're crazy.
Yeah, that's the one asset that I do not mess around with on my wallets is my pTGC. If anything, I'll mess around with other assets and they go into pTGC. But yeah, not the greatest currencies. They got built-in alien tech, man.
If there's you send in pTGC to a sacrifice, that'd be kind of cool. If that actually happened and you could actually sacrifice pTGC as one of the things on the list, and that would be freaking awesome.
It would actually.
I would love that. It would be like one of those things where like we just got recognized by our age, for like being legit.
Well, he needs to add it to the sacrifice list because he don't care for tax token, fee-based tokens. So pTGC needs to be on that list.
No, it doesn't. I was just saying it. But the thing is that, what that also means is that, it's not like it's a guarantee that those tokens don't get dumped. Everything got dumped for USDC. Everything got dumped outside of his tickers.
Yeah, everything got sold besides Hex. One thing I felt was interesting is what this sacrifice is for. It's for this replacement of exchanges. I forget the wordage he used there, and he even made the tweet like, "Imagine
freedom of middlemen."
Yeah, freedom of middlemen. He's like, imagine being able to get into your favorite token without middleman. Like, this is what you're sacrificing for. I think this would take too much effort, but I thought it was kind of cool if the sacrifice, and obviously I don't think this is the case because of just how the sacrifice has to be worded, is there's no expectations. But I was thinking, I'm like, wow, it would be cool if there was a way to where we could put up the pTGC as our sacrifice and get that, the token that helps our liquidity web. And then that pTGC we put up was actually used in their protocol as the liquidity needed to let the users enter in and out of fiat. But I don't think that's accurate because you couldn't put all that in the wordage of a sacrifice. It has to be just, hey, no expectations, send your money here. But I was kind of thinking that would be cool if, it was on us to make sure that the liquidity was there, for your favorite asset. If you want it to be Pulse, if you want it to be ETH, if you want it to be Wrap Bitcoin, like if you want it to be PulseX. But again, I don't think that's how it's going to work. I just daydreaming a little bit.
Right now, the ratio of PLS to UFO is the lowest that it has been in almost 1 year. And I say that to put a highlight on the value of of UFO right now, the potential upside in buying a position in it.
Well, that was a nice switchgear plug. You're so funny. That's awesome.
Yeah, both pTGC and UFO against PulseChain and in dollar values are on great sales. I definitely just pulled up that UFO chart though, and it is in a really big discount against PLS right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that goes for both pTGC and UFO.
pTGC is holding that 6-to-1 ratio really nicely. Did you notice how it upticked against Pulse? Right when earlier this week we had, I think, 3 or 4 days of green candles against Pulse when the market was moving, which it's just a foretaste of what's coming.
We had some nice buys coming in, man. We had some nice buys coming in, and it's just people. I think we had a nice 11,000, I think two dolphin positions got bought up in one shot the other day.
Mm-hmm. And we burned one also. We've added about 90 new wallets in the last 7 days.
So here's the thing, Zen. It's getting to the point now where I'm just looking at everything that's going on every day, like I do. And this is how I'm thinking. I'm looking at who has what left, and I'm seeing the distribution happening, and I'm thinking, my God, in not too long, there's going to be very few people that have enough tokens to even impact the chart if they dumped everything. And this is exactly what B-Roots tweeted about the other day. And I'm thinking, my goodness, what incentive do the people who have been willing to hold their bags like champions up to that point, up to that tipping point? What happens when we hit the tipping point where the only guys that have enough tokens to actually hurt the price have no incentive to do so, because nothing else can make the price go down really anymore, and the system's generating millions of dollars of revenue that has to go right back into the system now. So in other words, when you lose, when everybody's out, they've decided to move on, or they've decided to sell so much to where they don't really have enough, even at 500 million or 1 billion tokens, to really massively impact the chart over a longer period of time. What happens when those people are out? There's only 10, 20 people left, and their incentive to sell those tokens is what? When they're sitting on top of a revenue generation machine that just makes those tokens keep going up in value and is paying them passive income, and they're getting the lion's share. Like, that tipping point to me is going to be astronomical.
Yeah, I even just look at where that was, like, go back a year, go back 2 years, we've been out for a while, and we've made so much progress in that direction already. The amount of people that hold significant positions now compared to a year ago is a world of a difference. The amount of people that own significant positions now compared to 2 years ago is a significant difference. And the machine's just getting stronger. It's generating more revenue. And I 100% agree. Like, imagine just 1 to 2 years from now, where we're going to be in that landscape. Either the people who have significant positions still haven't budged. And I think at that point, you're like, okay, these guys care about like long-term. These people are like looking at this thing like it's Bitcoin 2.0, and they care about the APY. and the distribution would be so strong at that point. I have this calculator on the new site, and it's a volume calculator where you could type in like hypothetical volumes in the future where you think PulseChain will get. And the dollar figures that get generated in long periods of time, and like really when you think about what that could do for the chart if you just are patient and if PulseChain is remotely successful, is mind-blowing. So I typed in here right now $10 million of daily volume. Obviously, this is up from where we are. This is a successful pTGC, a successful PulseChain. But what that is for 5 years, so this is for like a long-term player, like you're saying, and like where are they even incentivized to leave? Like they're getting paid passive income. They're in a hyper-deflationary token. You know, they have a DAO that can technically pivot and expose them to any new launches or assets that pop up on PulseChain from now forever. Like they don't even need to speculate themselves almost. The amount of value generation would be $912 million in that 5-year span. So almost $1 billion if we got the protocol to $10 million a day of daily volume. That would be the 5% fee on that for a 5-year span. That's $365 million going to the DAO, $182 million going to holder rewards, $182 million going to staking rewards, $91 million of automatic buy and burn, and $91 million of liquidity. Again, this is obviously PulseChain getting to a significant number and being in the system long term. But I think it's important to kind of think about that, because you're saying, like, at what point do you say the people that are left just aren't incentivized to leave anymore? You know,
Zen. The number 51 holder has 0.26% of supply. Okay, the number 50 holder has 0.29% of supply at 960 million. The system is going to buy out everybody.
Exactly. That was my point.
And here's my tipping point. This is what I want you to comment on. This is the tipping point. When everybody who's out that wants to get out, and let's just cut those numbers you just did in half at 5 million in volume.
I can. Yeah. Hold on.
The system, what that technically means in a very simplistic way is that now you have a buyer, a perpetual buyer in the tune of millions of dollars. And the price can only do one thing outside of those individuals clipping out over time, you know, their passive income, their whatever. But that tipping point represents something that we've just never seen before.
Yeah,
because it's not dependent.
So at $5 million, and even if you want to look at a 1-year time span instead of a 5-year time span, at $5 million, that's $91 million of value generation a year.
Okay, so do that times 0.4, which would be the DAO.
Oh, I have those numbers here. This is all on the new site. The DAO would generate $36 million a year.
Okay, and 100% of that just buys and burns the chart. What's the point? In this example, what's the 0.5 with the auto burn?
It's $9.1 million.
Yeah, see, and so here's my question to you, Zen. Here's my question to you. What stops, and we could even go down to $1 million in volume. $1 million in volume. Because even with those numbers, it's astronomical. Just go to $1 million in volume.
That's $18 million a year in value generation.
Okay, and what is that? What is that? Yeah.
DAO,
which
that's
is
$7.3 million going to the DAO.
And divide that by 12.
I gotta do that on my phone, but 7 divided by 12, $608,000 a month.
So you're talking about after everything.
I have the month.
Yeah, so you're talking about technically after you add the other parts of it too, you're talking about 800, 900,000 a month at 1 million in volume. And everybody sold out because they didn't know what it was.
Yeah, I I looked at, this tweet recently about someone who spent like $10,000 on Bitcoin 10 years ago, and they just cashed out like hundreds of millions of dollars. In obviously one of the most liquid assets in the world. They got amazing price appreciation. They most likely still have a ton more and are holding probably one of the best store of values that exists. I would say it's been the best store of value for the last 10 years, and they're still just exposed to it. But they just got so much price appreciation. And that is not deflationary. That's not value generating. That's actually inflationary in that what comes out actually has to be sold on the chart to even pay themselves back for the overhead to run the blockchain, because you have to pay electricity to keep Bitcoin, and that's millions and millions of dollars a year. And that product was able to do that with no reflexivity, nothing. I do think pTGC is a game of who has patience. And obviously, I do think our community can enhance the growth just with their own hard work efforts, like by just onboarding and educating on what the system actually is. Because by just putting in a little bit of effort at these low levels, we can multiply the success of this protocol in the future by multiples of 10 very, very easily. But it does take a little bit of groundwork. It takes a little bit of, trying to onboard and educate new users on it. I think the protocol alone will do a lot of the heavy lifting, just like we just looked at. But we can amplify these numbers or ensure these numbers by our own hard efforts as well. And like you said, if people want to leave and take profits, they're just going to get bought out by the system. The amount of people that have been bought out, I recently saw someone make a post like, wow, there's 16,000 holders, but only 3,000 of those are like currently stakers, and they're sitting at a 50 mil market cap. What that tells me is the pTGC system has already bought out thousands of people. Thousands of people. And it very
100%.
easily can buy out thousands of more and thousands of more. And I don't think it's a coincidence that Richard seems to be very heavily leaning into this buy and burn idea. It's because it's actually sustainable. It's one of the only narratives, and the narrative hasn't even caught on yet. We're 2 years ahead of this narrative. It's a narrative that I actually don't think dies, because most narratives run up, but none of it is actually sustainable, and they fall down, like APY, for an example. Huge narrative last cycle. APY was big, but all that APY came out and just killed the charts. The buy and burn narrative, people can understand because they know what buybacks are, and it's actually sustainable.
Let me read this real quick, and then we can comment on this. This piggybacks off what you're saying. This is a bigger guy, bigger influencer guy. Officially, pTGC cannot be stopped. Last time I talked about it being at a 1-to-1 ratio versus PulseChain, most didn't listen. This is your last warning. I've been running the numbers, and based on wallets, and pTGC has officially hit a massive tipping point. Everyone cries about whales selling on newcomers. Let me explain why few wallets even matter. 9/30/2025, 76 holders had 100,000 to 250,000. Today there's 50. 23 holders had $250,000 to $500,000. Today it's 17. 7 holders, $500,000 to $750,000 worth. Today it's 6. 13, 4 had 750 to $1 million. Today it's 4. 13 had 1 million to 5 million. Today it's 9. Currently, 1 billion pTGC tokens only retraces the chart by 15%. The Dow has been buying out the majority of the early investors the whole time. Very little can be done to the chart from here over the long term. I highly suggest that the Dow use all revenue for 100% buy and burns. No more pairing, no more speculating, just pure burns. Bare minimum, the Dow is generating approximately 100 million PLS per day at all-time low volumes. This means that every 30 days that Richard Hart allows the chain to stay at these price levels, 2 shark positions gets eliminated. There are only 35 shark positions left for the whole world in liquidity. This is the definition of a checkmate. Do not read this post and cope later, like you did when pTGC was 1-to-1 against PulseChain. That's really what I'm getting at.
Wow.
We already know it's sustainable, Zen, because like I told you 3 weeks ago, we have the proof of concept. Look at the market cap. It's $50+ million on PulseChain. And even the people in the top 50, the top, 75, like I said, the top 51 holder has 960 million tokens left. These people could sell those, and it's just going to see you later. Guess you didn't want your. It's like what Richard said. You sold your future, dude. So, at what point do people realize, my God, the holders are if they were going to sell, they would have sold in the sense of. It doesn't matter if they sell, is what I'm saying. It doesn't matter who sells, is what I'm saying. And that's kind of the point of the message there.
Yeah,
The
one
system-
thing that stood out to me too is, the 100 million PLS a day
At all-time low volumes.
at all-time low volumes. If you take the average, like what we've generated in the last year, the amount of value that pTGC generates daily, like if you take the amount the Dow, or this is just the Dow, not pTGC, the 1.8 million, divide that by 365, it's $5,135 a day. And the average price for PulseChain in the last 6 months, I bet the year is pretty similar, is 4035. It's actually closer to like 160, 180 million pTGC a day. So that was even
100, yes.
Yes. So that was even like a downplay. Right now I think we're closer to that 100, maybe even a little bit less because volume's lower right now. But if you take the average from out the last year, it's actually even higher than that.
It's much higher than that. I'd double it. Be honest with you. That's just a conservative.
Like 181, 160. So that was even conservative, which is, better to be conservative than over the top.
I guess what I'm saying, Zed, is what happens, dude, when we hit that tipping point and there's nobody left that can really fire a shot across the bow that matters anymore.
There's not many. I don't think people
realize. And the system's generating millions of dollars and it only has one place to go. We've never seen a crypto run into a situation like that.
There's not many left.
It doesn't even have to have a buyer.
Yep.
That's the thing. Like,
there's not many left. When you look at how many people that pTGC has bought out, and I'm sure anyone could go through their follower list or just look who used to talk about pTGC, who doesn't really talk about pTGC now. It's bought out thousands of people so far. And not bought out thousands of people like it went on a significant dip and people got scared and like cheated out. Like pTGC's been trending upwards for 2 years. The machine has literally bought people out of their positions who didn't have the patience to see this out long term. I do believe a lot of the holders left are actually willing to see this out long term and are here for the APY slash like some serious numbers. Imagine if we added another 1,000 strong holders, like in real life holders, right here at 50 mil market cap.
Stupid.
It would turn pTGC, in my opinion, into a monster compared to other protocols on every blockchain. Most other like significant DeFi protocols on other blockchains, they don't have a network of in real life users actually exposed to them. They're just crypto people. They're not actually in real life people. This would set pTGC apart from these other DeFi protocols in so many ways. Like the compounding growth after we onboard and then start creating some green X's would be massive, in my opinion. It would be one of the biggest features of pTGC, and that's not the feature that's in the code. That's more of a feature that we can tap into because of the code. Because most crypto projects and assets, you aren't really willing to expose in real life people to, because you just don't have conviction in them. You don't believe it's awesome long term.
Yeah. So anyway, I just thought that's where I'm thinking as I'm watching how the system's working. And that's even before we talk about the fact that, guys, that's even before we talk about the fact that PulseChain is at these levels. And if it goes a 5x, a 10x from here, the liquidity thickens up a 5x to 10x from here. The revenue generation. Like what that's talking about where we're at right now, right here. Sam.
Yeah.
PulseChain goes up a 10x from here, or 15x, like you said. $20 million comes in. pTGC's at a new level, and it's like, oh my god.
Yeah, like, so I have a calculator for this too. I have a bunch of cool calculators. If you take our yearly volume and what our yearly value generation is for pTGC, our yearly value generation is $4,686,000. If you just 10x that, we're at $46 million of value generation.
But no overhead.
That's just a 10x on PulseChain. That's PulseChain at like 303, which is a 3x stack. I am very interested to see what pTGC is in 2 years, with or without the help of PulseChain. Because it's going to be buying out users and we're going to be onboarding users either way, right? Like that's, I think the in real life marketing push right now, bringing in people in real life, no coiners or just Bitcoin, Ethereum holders, or even other blockchain holders into pTGC at this level, which has a huge support line. And then just whatever happens in the next 2 years, if Richard comes in and helps, if this protocol comes in and helps, or if our individual ecosystem creates its own little bull run from our own efforts, it's going to get really interesting because there's only so many people really left that have a significant amount. And this is way different than a lot of other protocols. If you dig into a lot of other protocols, there's tons of people that have a lot to sell. No one's been bought out yet. So the fact that we've eliminated so much of the sell pressure throughout the 2 years with buy and burns and et cetera, I think we're just set up like for a massive move with our own onboarding and also a push of PulseChain, or either or. It could be literally either of them or both.
You got anything, Prairie, on your end?
I do. I think that we're going to see a lot of token distribution with the sacrifice of Mr. Prove. I think people are going to be, I think two things are going to happen. People are going to rotate out of pTGC and perhaps also people are going to have an opportunity to pick up an expensive PTDC.
I don't think anybody I think very few people are going to sell any copious amounts of PTGC for a sacrifice bet.
Well, Dave,
Could be, but I doubt it.
What happened last spring, late winter, when a new protocol comes up that was way less than a sacrifice, or it wasn't even a Richard Hart product, and everybody was aping into it. And I had a buddy that sneaking nuked his PTGC locks, 30% penalty overall to nuke it, unstake it, transfer it, all that, and he puts it into
For
that.
what protocol?
I don't want to say it. It's just one of those, one of those things that everybody apes into. That came out in about January, February timeframe.
Yes, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, and every single one of those charts is like down 99.9999%.
So it's going to happen again, man. I'm telling you.
I don't think so.
I don't think so, Banana. I really don't think so. And I think that what you just explained is a great example of how many people the system has bought out in the last 2 years. Those events that most systems have yet to go through, we've went through like 3 times now.
Which deadens the impact of each one that comes subsequently. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Yes, you're right. There will be an impact, but not as much.
People that did do that are the people that would have done that.
Yes.
But they've already done it. And the people that didn't do it obviously didn't do it.
Hey,
correct.
Goo, let me ask something. Goo God, are you listening? Can you give me an emoji if you are? Or are you just in there in your driver's seat? Yeah, I know some of them are just in there as support.
Yeah, that's great.
All right, sorry about that. Keep moving forward then.
Yeah, I think that's just a great example of, maybe that was a year ago.
Okay, hold on. So, Goo, come on up real quick, please. Can you come up or let him up? Can you become a speaker, Goo?
He should be a speaker.
Yeah, he's not a speaker on my end, and I don't have a request.
Hmm.
Oh, now he's a speaker.
Hmm.
I don't hear him though.
Yeah, what's up, bro?
Okay, so wanted to bring you up, man. Haven't heard from you. I hope you're doing good and you're blessed, brother. If you could give me a 2-minute, no degen talk, more high-level corporate monologue of what your sense is of the grays at this point, because I know you're a watchdog, higher level, higher language level. What would that be in about a 60-second to a minute 20 nutshell for you?
I mean, just to keep it like not too crazy, like this is blue chip, bro. This is God tier. There's nothing like it, right? So everything in crypto is cyclical, right? Even your emotions. So think back to when you were doing your best, right? And you're like, okay, yeah, my portfolio was high green, I'm paper rich and everything else, right? You start to ignore a lot of stuff, right, that you should be paying attention to. So you start to see like a lot of projects and just a lot of things out there, they're really bad. They're really, really, really bad. So you get to a point where now your portfolio was red or you didn't take profit or things are just not the way that you wanted them to be and stuff like that. So you look around and you say, what worked for me? What did well, right? And it's real projects, right? So somebody that I know was kind of going through this and I'm like, so you come back to PTGC, you understand? The very first time that PTGC was shilled to me, not shilled, but the very first time that it was brought up to me, and it was pitched to me, I said, this is a phenomenal project. There's nothing else like this in crypto. It's a hybrid of things that actually work. So yeah, this is the bee's knees, bro. And that was like 2 years ago, and I still feel the same way today. And it's even more heightened now. I have to admit, it's heightened now more than ever. And it's just because the way that this protocol is built, bro. There's nothing else like this.
And at this point in the market cycle, and with PulseChain still down at these levels, it's, to me, Gu, it's becoming self-evident that this protocol has the opportunity to just completely blow people's minds that they missed that opportunity. With the distribution that's going on, with the numbers that we're giving, because he's giving real numbers at this point. People start to, people start to get to, okay, we're getting to the end of this cycle, we're getting into the end of that cycle. So there'll be some people that maybe they don't want to get rid of their position because they don't want to hold long term. But the large majority of people that I know, that I think have a nice size position, maybe 400 up to $1 billion. A lot of these individuals, in other words, out of the percentage of people that can even impact this chart, a lot of them aren't going to touch it. Some will. They will be replaced by not only new buyers, but the system. You're all over the place. You're multi-chain. You look at all kinds of shit. You launch shit. You do shit. Looking at what we've got, what's the visceral reality for you with this? 100% truth. No shill, just truth. What is out of everything you're seeing out there, is pTGC still that thing that where you're just like, damn, this thing, if I just hold this thing's just gonna make me, what is it for you?
Yeah, bro. I mean, at the end of the day too, we can talk about the protocol all day and how greatly it's built and how it'll go on without any of us here. But also, I'm kind of invested in the guys here. I like TGZen a lot. I like some of the other founders a lot that, they're not active and stuff, but I like these guys. I respect these guys. Some of the big whales I respect and I like them a lot. You understand? And these guys are not coming from a place where, okay, let's get rich quick, okay, let's do mass extraction, or let's do all this stuff. No, these are legit business owners that in IRL I would be doing business with if they were in my area.
Right.
So it's like I have that, I have that respect for them. So it's kind of more than just the protocol itself. You know what I mean?
Good point. Appreciate you sharing, man. I haven't heard from you for a while, and
I have something for GuGod, if you don't mind, Endo. Just because I don't even know what day GuGod got in, but week one, I would guess, he's been a community member for a long time. And I know he's watched the evolution of pTGC go from tens of thousands of market caps, obviously up to 350 million market cap, and where we're sitting today. How do you feel about the distribution of the supply and how many people, because I know you've probably watched and had conversations of people who have taken profits or even exited because of price appreciation, stuff like that. And the fact that it's still able to sustain at these levels and continue to do what it has done with that much distribution, so increasing the holders and growing, but still just at these levels of PulseChain, and like how it's evolved from what it was to what it is today, and what you think it will evolve from what it is today to what it could be in, let's say, another 2 years with PulseChain's help. And we can even have the conversation without PulseChain's help too, if you don't mind.
I mean, I've always looked at it from a point of view of from without PulseChain's help, right? Because I'm not an OG Hexagon or nothing like that. So I never had, I guess, some of these expectations that other people had. So me being a part of just this chain period really never had anything to do with like Richard Hart or anything like that. So I've never relied on, on the underlying asset needing to pump in order for us to pump or nothing like that. Like, we've proved that we didn't need any of that. And I think it'll be the same going forward, no matter what happens, good or bad. Of course, good will be better, but good or bad, I think we do good, right? And then as far as distribution goes, like a lot of people sold too early, bro. Even myself, I had 12 billion pTGC at one point. I was the third top holder. Nobody had more than me, bro. You know what I mean? And even I let go of some of those bags way too early. So people, the distribution now is phenomenal. And those top 10, they're not going nowhere. You're not going to see, no crazy stuff happen there. I would say even the top 20. So, and a lot of people still don't know what we have here, bro. And when you introduce people to this in the real world and you show them the value that's being generated, you show them the yield that's being earned, you show them the community engagement, like they're all for it, bro.
Would you admit that there was a tipping point where you said, "Yeah, I was dumb and I'm no longer clipping out. I'm no longer clipping out." Like, was there a tipping point at some point?
Yeah, absolutely, bro. Once it got to the point where it was like, just generate yield. That's all the richest entities in this world. That's why they're rich, is because we all pay them yield, whether it be through our car notes, through our mortgages, some sort of way we're paying yield to these people, right? So the way that you become wealthy and you hold on to that wealth is to start earning the yield, right? And then you start compounding the yield. It has some kind of weird voodoo effect. I don't know what it is, but when you compound yield, it's a lot stronger than what you think it is, man.
I would say the last thing with you on the fact that the Grace has been able to weather everything it's been able to weather, not only from the blockchain not giving us any love, but the amount of selling that has happened and the amount of like PvP from within and from without. You know about all this stuff. The fact that we're here after all of that, it's pretty damn impressive, bro.
Yeah, I mean, we're not going nowhere, bro. We have millions of dollars in liquidity with the top assets on the chain. Like, no matter what, the liquidity is burnt. So no matter what, we're not going anywhere. We're here. I mean, I have laddered out 10 years, bro. So we're here for the long run.
Lastly, before you go, just real quick, what are your thoughts on the sacrifice stuff for this, Mr. Proof?
I put my post out, bro. I'm sacking because my initial response was mother effing scammer. Oh, this sucks. And then I look at everybody else and they're all saying the same thing. Man, this is horrible. This is terrible. And me, bro, I've made it by inverse trading the crowd.
Yep.
And I've seen a certain similar like this happen. A certain project from 2021, something similar happened. And bro, like the whole chain faded it. I went in heavy and I made my first 6 figures on the chain. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to inverse trade my emotions. I'm going to inverse trade the crowd. I don't suggest everybody do that. I'm a little bit more of a degen, and I'm, privileged enough to take certain risks that certain people probably should not take. But yeah, bro, I'm sacking. And if it does the initial pump and dump and go low and all that, I'm buying more.
There you go.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate you coming up, brother. Good to talk to you.
Yeah, bro, anytime, man. I'm always here.
Goo has that common sense,
Well, he's also very active. Yeah, he's multi-chain.
He's everywhere, man.
Yeah, and he knows a lot. And it's just good to hear from some guys that are in the system that we don't hear a lot because they're so active in a lot of different places, but just kind of get an update on where he's at. It just never changes. It's just getting stronger And I'll tell you that there's people that I know that the belief has switched in a lot of ways. The belief has switched. In the sense of, because you just don't know at these levels. If you get out, people don't realize that this isn't even like a micro cap. This is like a nano cap at these levels almost. It doesn't take much for a guy to come in and just buy up a bunch of the supply, and then the entry that you thought you were going to get by selling, it's just, the train just left you, and in your mind you could just envision the guy going, no, chasing after the train. Yeah. So if you're locked in, the interesting thing at this point is that if you're locked into a nice position of this protocol, I can guarantee you're asking yourself, do I really even want to think about that?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So when you've got something that sticky with real proof of concept, that's very powerful.
I'm a little distracted reviewing the new site, which I'm falling in love with every corner that I explore. I think everybody's gonna love it.
Yeah, it's nice. I like it too. There's some things I want to go over with you guys about it, but yeah, it's pretty awesome, man.
The one thing that I think is like a huge next thing, and I keep saying this, and I know I'm sounding like a broken record, but what you're kind of just talking about is just everything that kind of stands out with pTGC compared to a lot of other things out there, the liquidity, the buy and burns, the constant LPs, the APY built into code. If we could get, and I think we already have, I think our in real life community is actually larger than people think, because this has been a product from the last 2 years that people felt like was worth telling friends and family about. I think even the 3 people or 4 people, if you include me, say, if you ask each one, have you onboarded someone that's in real life that's not really on crypto Twitter or like a crypto person? I think all 4 of us would be like, yeah, we have. I know Mando has, I think Prairie and Gugat has told me he has as well. Mm-hmm. So I think if you look at pTGC today and who makes up the community, it's already very, very unique compared to a lot of other assets. If we could take that one more step further and do it one more time, try to make that extra 1 or 2 phone calls, the community of in real life users out of pTGC, along with its code, along with its burnt liquidity, along with how much has been bought and burnt and the distribution that's happened, this asset will be so different than the majority of assets that exist in cryptocurrency. It's just primed for a huge amount of success. It's just so different than everything that pops up every single day. This is the next meme. This is the next this. No. It's made up of a group of very unique individuals that is a mixture of crypto obsessed people, mid crypto obsessed people who like crypto, and then also in real life people that are very much only exposed to a couple things within cryptocurrency. And I think this is how large communities and large protocols are built, from grassroots.
It sounds like you're listening to Frank Sinatra in the background or something.
I'm not listening to it. I'm at work today. We're so busy at work. I had the guys come in, and I figured I'd just support them and show them that I'm working on Saturday, even though I'm doing my spaces. So I'm like killing 2 birds with 1 stone over here.
Yeah.
Nice.
Who else cares to come up and chat? We got that video in the Jumbotron for anybody that's just cruising our spaces. If you want to find out, get a little teaser of what we're talking about today, pTGC and UFO, have a look at that video.
Yo, let me bring up something that I heard the other day that I thought it was interesting. So I was listening to Firewell speaking in a space, and the subject was of pTGC and UFO. He wasn't like fudding or anything like that.
Unusual.
And he made a suggestion, right? As far as onboarding, right? Would it be catchier to use the UFO ticker, right? And trying to grab attention from people and garnish that attention and keep that attention, because just UFO is something like more common, and you hear about UFOs all the time, UFO mania, this, that, and the third. Would that be a more effective ticker to try to onboard people into the Grays ecosystem? I thought it was interesting.
Yeah,
I know you would say that.
No, I'll tell you why I'll say it, man. I'll tell you why I'll say it. I don't shy around nothing. You know me, man. I know that at the lows, some of them have taken positions in UFO. So, and that's a fact. So the reality is lower market cap, and I've talked to some of them. So pTGC is up there, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take some positions down there, and so that's the narrative behind that, in my opinion.
Okay, I got you.
Let's start talking about UFO because we all took some positions down there at the bottom.
Gugat, I have an interesting one that actually Funding Jim brought up a couple spaces ago, which I didn't fully think about in real, like, recently. In the pTGC ticker back in the day, this was a thought process. I wanted something unique, and then with UFO, I felt like I went more towards a different idea of a ticker that was easier to associate with aliens. So just right when you see UFO ticker, you know that their theme is aliens. But Funding Jim brought up this thing that was super, super unique to pTGC that is actually, I think, almost more powerful. And I could be wrong here, but it's like you can look at it both ways, is when you type in UFO crypto on YouTube or Google, nothing about the UFO token actually comes up. You cannot find UFO token. But if you type in pTGC crypto or on YouTube or Google, legitimately the token comes up. People can actually find the token with just typing in those things, to where almost UFO is so common that it's harder to locate on YouTube. You have to get exact usernames and stuff like that. And that was something he brought up, that he likes, that he can go on YouTube and type in pTGC and some videos are popping up on pTGC, not on, UFO sightings and stuff like that. So that was another side of it that I thought was super, super powerful for onboarding and educating, and people trying to search up the ticker and get information, that the information is very, very easy to find due to pretty much nothing having that same ticker symbol, or anything in real life having that association of 4 letters.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. We own that on the algorithm.
We own it. You're kind of just saying that too, but it is interesting, right? Like Funding Jim was bringing that up. You kind of just gave a version of that, but it's
no. What I'm saying is, if you type in YouTube right now, UFO crypto, if you type that in, UFO crypto, Prairie comes up dead center in the shorts, top page. And the rise of the grays, PTGC UFO impact on PulseChain comes up like number 5, scrolling down on page 1. Under UFO.
Okay. Yeah, that's better than I thought then.
Yep. So we're there as well. PTGC obviously is going to pop up because in an SEO situation, nobody's typing in PTGC crypto unless they know PTGC crypto. So there's literally you're not competing against anybody when you're indexing a search like that.
Well, and you can even just type in PTGC. You don't even need to type in the word crypto.
Correct. So even if you're who is going to type in the word PTGC? Nobody. The only person that's going to do that is if they've been told about PTGC. Who's going to type in the word UFO? Everybody, millions of people, right? So of course it's going to pop up when you put up PTGC because there's literally no competition for the word you're trying to get indexed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. That was one thing I think super interesting, where the ticker is almost so odd that it almost kind of works too.
Oh yeah, man.
As far as
what we would want is to be ranking when people are typing in UFO, aliens, and not even looking at the crypto, and it's just popping up everywhere as this alien crypto. So in other words, we're winning in the competing of those keyword phrases and those keyword searches, and we're popping up amongst the bigger SEO algorithms. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
We definitely need to have some more YouTube videos, some newer videos, and properly SEO'd on YouTube going out. We need a whole nother round of videos.
Hey, Mando.
What's up, man?
Hey, it's Snowflake. Hey, quick question. I know you can't speak for B Roots, but I know he's got you in his ear. He's pro PTGC over UFO. I know he likes them both because he holds them both. But what helps out PTGC more on buy and burns? Is it UFO or is it PTGC?
Yeah, PTGC is definitely helped by UFO. I don't think that's
I would say we do a little bit more with better volume on UFO for PTGC than just PTGC, in my opinion, provided it's not all sell pressure on either token.
Yeah, I don't think really that's the point though that's being made. PTGC obviously benefits 1,000 times more from a market buy on PTGC than from a side burn from UFO.
I get that. I just
that's
think
the reality.
Well, I mean, it does. A buy does, but a sell doesn't. But a buy and sell on UFO, I would say, helps more with the taxes.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't want to get into an argument or a conversation about that at all. I could care less. I own both in a big way, so I'm happy to see both of them do very well. I literally have not sold. I literally have not sold one. Maybe I have to retrace that, but my whale positions, they're not sold. They're not touched. I'm not touching them. I haven't touched them, right? Because they're too good of an asset. So.
I'm looking at the history of the burn of which token has burned more PTDC. And if you look at, like, for example, last November through February when UFO was running up, both of them were, but UFO, I think, was running up a little bit more. You guys might want to correct me on that if that's incorrect, but UFO was burning upwards of 3 times more PTGC at that time than PTDC was. But now, like last month, it was about equal, with PTDC burning more of itself and UFO burning less.
We had that crazy run up on UFO though too. Well, we broke out from that side trend that we were in forever. We pumped up to 15 mil, and then immediately just kind of ran up to like 90 mil, 100 mil, bro. So UFO was getting a lot of adoption, so that might have been the reason for those numbers.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was highlighting there. So, and you guys can see that on YouTube if you want to go there. Yeah. UFO burns a lot of PTDC. And I think we're going to see that. I think we're going to see that going forward. Which
it's going to continue to do that.
Yeah.
All we have to have, guys, is damn Richard Hart's blockchain and ecosystem to actually come alive, and this whole thing's solved. Period. That's all that it is.
Yeah, with RH's tickers moving, you see UFO wake up drastically. This is where that, like Duga was talking about, it trended from 2 to 3 million for like a solid 3 months. And as soon as RH's tickers woke up, UFO kind of ran to 15 mil. And then they started waking up a little more with PTGC waking up, because both the PTGC and UFO ecosystem like start compounding on themselves. When volume increases, the rewards increase, which equals buy and burns increasing. So you find like UFO was kind of rocking. Well, what's happening when UFO is rocking? It's buying and burning UFO. It's also buying and burning PTGC. So that helps push PTGC up. Well, what happens when PTGC goes up? Well, PTGC is bonded with UFO. So then that drags UFO up. And then that creates arbitrage opportunity. And then market makers start fixing those pools. And then we generate more revenue. And we actually saw, when UFO made that big move up, it was buying and burning so much PTGC during that. And also those green candles attracted new users, which then equaled more pushing up and, more buying and burning. So I agree with you, Snowflake, that when UFO does wake up a little bit, and I think what we're kind of waiting on right now is just for PulseChain to kind of find its floor and start going back up, and us to get some volatility within that web. And I believe users are going to remember what UFO did last time. They'll recognize real quick. They just aren't recognizing it right at the moment. And then when that wakes up again, we know what happens to PTGC again. PTGC will probably be rocking on its own at that time too, because they have the same style web setup. But we know that UFO system is going to probably buy and burn a lot more PTGC again. In the last year, I think it's around $700,000.
Well, since September of last year, UFO has burned 1.7 billion PTDC, and PTDC has burned 1.3 billion.
Yeah, it's the 1-2 punch is just awesome. It's a beautiful reciprocal system, and man, it's just a 5x from here. It just turns into an absolute monster. What we need is volume and volatility within the pairs. The problem with RH tickers is that they're so bonded in liquidity, and they move so closely together currently right now. With every once in a while, one will shift hard against the others. We need more shifting going on. For that to happen, we need to have more users. We need to have more energy. But once that happens, we've seen that happen. The system's just generating millions of dollars. It's just crazy for the system on both sides. You got anybody in the chat?
I have no one requesting. Banana, you got any comments on YouTube?
Nope. No comments on YouTube. It has been.
Where are you at for time, Zen?
All right, I'm down to close it down. If anyone has any more conversation points, I can also talk a little longer. I'm at work today, so going to sit here a little longer anyways, but I'm doing a lot of testing with the new site. So if there's nothing here, I'm gladly okay with shutting it down and keep playing with this and finding fixes.
Anybody else got anything? Prairie?
No, I don't have anything. I think this was a very good Spaces, and I look forward to listening to it tomorrow when I'm working.
Yeah, so I think it'll be important to see when this website launches from Richard. That'll give us a really good idea on kind of the strategy of this sacrifice set from his vantage point. Maybe when that happens, we'll open up a VC just to kind of discuss that. That'd be very interesting. But yeah, it's kind of cool to see Richard working. I'll be honest, man. If he can pull off a fiat on and off ramp that removes exchanges, I'll be honest, man. That's kind of like if it doesn't like go up and then get pulled back down because of a bank relationship or because of this. My thing is okay. It's always been like the relationships to the banks or the relationships to the on ramp or the relationships that that go bad. So it's just very interesting to how we'll see and how this is set up. Like, is there any point in this system that is reliant on a middleman, right? That cannot work, that can be turned off, or that can back out. Because if that's the case, that's kind of defies the point, right? So I don't see how Richard would be able to build a system like this and say it removes all middlemen if there's parts of it that can back out or can be removed or be shut down. Or so it's just I'm very interested to see how it's designed.
Yeah, I hope there's not a situation where like it's only certain banks and the banks are hard to use and not accepted places, and that would kind of suck. I know like with PayPal and stuff like that, the banks are pretty well associated. Like any banks associated with PayPal, so as long as maybe it's linked to something that can link to every bank, like it takes one more step, I guess that'd be okay. But direct link to like banks that pretty much everyone has. I don't know the banks in other countries, but at least in United States we have Chase, Bank of America, etc. If there could be a direct link between that and this protocol, if it's like a Wire or whatever or a Zelle, gosh, that would be so amazing. It would make the onboarding process so much better.
Well, in my opinion, it would just revolutionize the whole damn.
Yeah, it would be huge.
It would make PulseChain the best blockchain to use. I mean, I don't got to use and just from that vantage point, right? From that vantage point, it would just be such an amazing user experience.
I agree. It's almost too good to be true.
That's why I'm saying, like, I'll believe it when I see it. Like, let's wait for the website to come out and see what kind of more information we get and what this is. I mean, it's excited to see it.
Yeah. All right, guys.
All
yeah,
right,
let's shut it down.
Yep. All right. Well, appreciate everybody coming out.
See ya.
Enjoy your day.
See ya. All right, ladies and gents, that was it. Harry Williams. Question: what happens if you swap UFO for pTGC and vice versa? Okay, good question. You will pay a heavy penalty. You'll pay the fee. If you swap from either of these tokens, UFO or pTGC, to the other one, because there's a fee for each one, you're going to pay the fee for each one. So it's a 5% fee for pTGC and it's 6% for UFO. So if you swap in between, it's 11%. And people do it, but if you can, wow, that's tough. It's like if you already have a position in pTGC and you want a position in UFO, for example, it's probably best just to bring other capital in versus swapping out of one fee-based token to another one. And some people play the arbitrage. They play that. Can I call it a game? I don't participate. They'll literally swap from pTGC into UFO and trying to catch a leg up and then swap back. Woo, risky boy. Some of you guys can handle it, not me. I don't have the stomach for it. I don't have the brains for it either. But I hope that answers your question, man. I plan to rotate much of my UFO into pTGC during the bear. UFO into pTGC. Yeah, not a bad. I don't know. See, I don't know what's going to happen. You're just wondering. Okay. Yeah. Cool. All right, guys. Dude, exciting times, man. Can't tell you, man. We're at the genesis of a layer 1 blockchain. Does it get any better? It's bleak now, but it's going to get good. I think it's going to get good. You're welcome, Stan. Thank you guys for jumping in and participating in all that. Appreciate all y'all's questions. 28 in here. That's awesome. Well, guys, if you have any onboards, we're working on the site where you guys can make some money from your onboards. And then once they onboard, they can come into my spaces. I mean, my stream on Sundays, and I'll do it on Wednesdays also. And by the way, guys, I've thought this through. Like when you send it on board to one of my streams, I'm gonna promote my referral code, right? I mean, duh. But I am going to stress that if that these new users, if they were onboarded by somebody other than me, they are not to use my referral code. So you guys can hold me to that. You've got it in, and you've got it in video. So and make sure that they know that too. When we're to that point, you guys can send your referees to my channel to get to understand the ecosystem. If you want to do that, you don't have to do that. But then for the actual transaction, they need to use your code. And they need to use my code. The ones that I onboard, right? Okay, if that makes sense. All right. Just wanted to make that clear that we're not ain't gonna take a good name is rather to be chosen than great riches. I'll stand on that. All right, guys. See you later. Have a great weekend. Bye.